Hey guys, I hope you're all okay. Still surviving, but enjoying the beautiful sunshine. I have made another video for you all. I hope you're going to enjoy it. I've used a little bit of a different structure to my usual classes, so I hope you're not too put off and you enjoy it. I thought now was my chance to have a play around rather than sticking to the same structure as always and seeing what happened. So my only recommendation is that you grab something that resembles a yoga block. If you don't have a yoga block, anything that looks like one, maybe a big book, just something to bring the floor closer to you, I would recommend grabbing that now. And when you're ready, we'll head over to our mat and we'll all start in a nice comfortable seat. So cross-legged if you can, or feel free to keep the legs stretched out if you've got any knee problems. But we'll all come together and just start to focus on the breath. So hands nice and relaxed, everything feeling relaxed, and closing the eyes. Just taking a few deep breaths for yourself, seeing where your breath is today. And with each breath, just trying to deepen a little bit more, finding some space in the lungs, in the chest. It might be nice to take one hand to your heart and one on your belly. And just feeling the soft rising and falling of the belly and the chest with each inhale and exhale. Not altering the breath, just using your own natural pattern today. Couple more rounds. Really trying to forget anything that you've done so far today, any thoughts, worries, and just really using this next hour to focus on yourself. Maybe even setting an intention for your class. So maybe you want to send all your energy to someone who needs it more today. Really focusing on them and sending them your love, your energy. Or maybe you need that yourself. So maybe you're trying to focus all your energy and love right back into your own body. And every time you get lost in the class, trying to come back to that intention. And we're going to start to inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 3, 2, 1. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 6 this time. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 8, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. And coming back to your natural pattern. And letting the arms fall down, fluttering open the eyelids. And let's take a little lie down on our backs. Relaxing everything into the ground. And on your next inhale, bring your right knee in, giving it a hug to your chest. And slowly just starting to circle the hip in the joint, warming up the hip joints. You can stay as big or as small as you like, one way and the other. Sending your energy, your intention to those hips. Sending them some love. And hugging it in one last time and letting that go. See if you can feel a difference on each hip now. Does your right hip feel a little bit longer, more extended? And we'll repeat that on the left. So inhale, bringing in the left leg, hugging knee to chest. And slowly starting to circle that hip. Sending your love energy into the other hip. One way and then the other, as big or as small as you like. Maybe even stopping in a few places that maybe feel a little bit tighter, or maybe that feels nice in your body. And just using these few last breaths to really warm up your hips. Hugging it in and letting it fall. Noticing how the hips feel now. Hopefully they feel nice and equal, nice and warm. And we'll slowly start to roll onto one side and come up into our all fours tabletop position. So your hands should be stacked under your shoulders, knees should be stacked under your hips, and your spine should be nice and long and straight. We're going to start to inhale, send the nose high, send the tail high, and dip through the tummy into our cow, and exhale to send the back high into cat. And back the other way, dipping the tummy, sending the chest up, the head up, the tail up, and tucking everything under. Just a couple more rounds using your own breath. You don't need to follow my timing. Just warming up the spine. And maybe looking side to side, looking back at your toes, warming up the side of the body, the rib cages expanding on each side as you look behind. And then maybe taking your own little exploration with your spine, some circles, some figure of eights. You can take a little bit more weight into the hands or back into the legs. And just using these last couple of breaths to really explore your own spine, see what feels good, see what doesn't feel good. And just enjoying this little playful moment. And finally coming to stillness. So from here, let's tuck the toes. We're going to just start to warm up the core, the tummy. So inhale, lift the knees slightly off the floor so we're hovering in our tabletop. Strength through the arms, the tummy should be nice and engaged. And lowering down, coming into a nice child's pose, stretching the spine long. And coming back to tabletop. Tucking the toes again and coming a little bit higher. Send the hips up but keep the knees bent. We're hovering here, keeping the belly nice and engaged. And coming back down, back to child's pose. Maybe from side to side, warming up the shoulder blades. And back to tabletop, tucking the toes. This time we're going to push all the way into our downward dog. The first one of the day, maybe the first one in a while. And you can just use this to warm up into this posture. Maybe going from foot to foot, pedaling through the ankles, the toes, warming up the whole foot. Feeling that length in the hamstrings. Pushing away the floor with your hands. Make sure the neck is relaxed so you're not holding any tension in the shoulders. And when you're ready, come into stillness. Coming onto your tippy toes, we're going to walk forwards towards the hands. Keep the knees nice and bent. And when you reach the top of your mat, keep the knees bent, or you can stretch them if you have the flexibility. We're just going to hang here for a while. You can take your hands to your elbows, really letting gravity pull you down so that your chest comes towards your thighs. Maybe rocking side to side, warming up the spine and the pelvis. Give your head a nod and shake. Make sure there's no tension at all in the neck. And when you're ready, flopping the arms down, we're going to start to roll nice and slowly. Vertebra by vertebra, stacking up. Head comes up last. Opening the shoulders. Head comes up. And we're back in our Tadasana mountain pose. Okay, so we're going to go through our sun salutations now. So we're going to find the top of our mats. You can have your feet together if you prefer, or maybe hip distance apart. We're going to find a comfortable starting position and all take a couple of breaths together. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. And inhale, sweep the arms up, looking towards the sky. Exhale, folding forwards, hinging over from the hips. Inhale, come to flat back, hands press into the floor or maybe the shins. And exhale, press your hands and come into a high plank. Let's lower the knees and then we'll lower the chest through to the hands. And we'll come into a small baby cobra. Inhale, just lifting the back. And exhale to soften. Tuck the toes, coming through and back up into downward dog. And just taking 5 breaths here. Walking out your feet again. Using these first couple of down dogs to really warm up the spine and the legs. Taking some breaths. And on your next exhale, soften the knees, look forwards towards the hands and start to walk or step towards the front of your mat. Keep the chin lifted, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, sweep the hands all the way up, look towards the thumb. And exhale, hands back to center. A little bit quicker this time. Inhale, arms to sky. Exhale, folding forwards. Inhale, halfway lift. Stretch out your spine. Exhale, plant the hands and step to high plank. So we can lower knees, chest. Coming through, keep the elbows tight to the body. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, soften, push into the hands, send the hips back and up to downward facing dog. And a few breaths here. Really rooting the hands, make sure all 5 fingers and thumbs are pressing into the ground. Sending energy through your heels, they don't need to touch the floor. It's just that sense of energy coming back through the heels from the base of the spine. And on your next exhale, soften the knees, look forwards and step towards the front of your mat. Halfway lift and exhale to soften, relaxing over. Inhale, sweep the hands all the way up, looking towards the ceiling or the sky. And exhale, hands back to prayer. One more round. Inhale, sending the arms high. Exhale, softening over. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands and step to high plank. You can challenge yourself here and try to lower in one straight line or knees, chest. So lowering down and pulling yourself through with your heart to upward facing dog, strong arms. Exhale, back up to downward dog. And 5 breaths here. Coming back to your breath. Maybe remembering that intention that you set at the beginning of class. Sending your energy to that loved one or back to yourself. And exhale, soften the knees, look forwards and step towards your hands. Halfway lift, keep the chin lifted. And exhale, softening down. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up to the sky, looking up. And hands back to center, exhale. And coming into round B. So inhale, sweep the arms back. Coming into our chair pose. Make sure you can still see your big toes, knees squeezing together, weight back in the heels. Exhale to fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands and step into high plank. Lower knees, chest, or one straight line. Elbows tucked to the side. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, step through the right foot. Slightly pivot the back foot so it's turned out 45 degrees. Inhale, warrior one. Hips facing the front of your mat. Exhale to fold. Frame the foot, stepping to high plank and lowering through chaturanga or knees, chest. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale to downward dog. Stepping through the left foot. Inhale, slightly turn out the back foot. Rising up to warrior one on the other side, hips facing square forwards. Exhale, frame the foot. Stepping back to high plank, lower knees, chest, or one straight line, and inhale to upward facing dog. Exhale to downward dog. And 5 breaths here. Really building the energy throughout this part of the class. But always coming back to your breath while we're in downward dog. And on your next exhale, soften the knees, look forwards and step towards the front of your mat, halfway lift. Exhale to fold and relax. Inhale, sweep the arms forwards and up, sitting back on that chair, Utkatasana. And rising up and hands back to center. And inhale, sweep the arms, standing in chair position. Exhale to fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands and step back to high plank. Lower knees, chest, or one straight line. Inhale to upward dog. Exhale, sending the hips high, leading with the hips into downward dog. Inhale, step forwards with the right foot, pivot the left, rising up to warrior one. Strong pose with the legs, the arms, shoulders down. Exhale to fold. Rising back to our high plank and lowering through and pulling the heart to upward dog, sending the hips to downward dog. Inhale, step through with the left foot this time, pivot the back, standing up for warrior one. Shoulders down the back. Exhale to frame the foot, stepping to high plank, lowering down. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale to downward dog. And 5 breaths here. Really sending those hips high. Maybe bending the knees and tipping the pelvis a little bit higher. And then trying to straighten the legs without moving the pelvis. So find that extra bit of fold in the hips. Lengthening the spine. And exhale, soften the knees, look forwards and step towards the front of your mat, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, sit back on your chair, hips reaching back, arms reaching forwards, and standing up tall, and hands back to center. One more round. Inhale, sweep the arms back to chair. Exhale to soften. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands and step to high plank. Lowering knees, chest, or one straight line. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale to downward dog. Inhale, step through with the right foot, turn out the back foot. Inhale, warrior one. And exhale to fold. Stepping to high plank, lowering down. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale to downward dog. Step through with the left foot this time. Pivot the back foot. Inhale all the way up to warrior one. And exhale to fold. Stepping to high plank, lowering down. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale to downward dog. And 5 well-deserved breaths here. Really using this resting pose to come back to your breath. Trying to come back to your natural breathing pattern. On your next exhale, soften the knees, look forwards and step towards the front of your mat. Halfway lift. And exhale, folding back down. Inhale, we're going to sit on our chair. I'm going to face you guys. So in our chair, knees squeezing together. You can still see your toes, arms reaching up. From here, bringing hands to chest. Don't hate me. We're going to start to pivot towards that left side. So elbow comes over to knee. And we're going to start to use that elbow to push against the knee and spiral the back from the sacrum all the way up to the crown of the head, looking over that top shoulder. Couple of breaths here, really squeezing the tummy, engaging the core, and back to center. And let's come to the right side. Inhale, sending that elbow to knee, using it as a lever to push yourself around, hands pressing together, looking over your shoulder. One more breath, really squeezing everything. Try to rotate the spine a tiny bit further. And coming back to center. And relax, folding over. Okay, from here, I want you to wiggle your toes out so that they're hip, a little bit further than hip distance apart, maybe to the ends of your mat. Slightly turn out the toes. We're going to come down into Halasana squat. So you can start to lower the pelvis. And if you can get the heels down, great. If not, you can stay up on your toes. Or you may want to bring a block under your hips. And you can sit here, just opening the hips. So using the elbows to press against the knees. Finding a little bit more width in the hips, openness in the pelvis. You can close the eyes and really start to focus on your breath. Focus on the sensations in your body right now. And just holding it here for a couple of breaths. It should start to feel quite nice, I promise. One more breath, inhale. And exhale. You can soften back forwards and we're going to step to our high plank. Lower knees, chest or lower all together in one straight line. Inhale, pull the heart up to the sky. Exhale, send the hips up to the sky. Okay, inhale, send the right leg high. And bringing it through, planting that foot between the hands. We're going to come back up to warrior one, so slightly turn out the back foot and start to raise up with the body, engaging the tummy. Make sure all the corners of your feet on the back foot are spread into the floor. Couple more breaths here. Front knee tracking over toes. And exhale, we're going to send that into warrior two. So tightly take out the back foot so you're in a wider stance. Front foot, the heel should be lining up with the arch of your back foot. Hips facing the side of your mat. Arms on top. And lowering into that warrior two. And hands reaching out away from you, shoulders down, looking over that front arm. Breathing, really tracking that knee, turning it out so it's over the front foot. One more breath. And then stretching that front knee. You can stay in this wide stance or you can start to wiggle the feet a little closer. We're going to come into triangle trikonasana. So the feet are in the same pose as warrior two, but straight legs pulling up through the quads, the knees are locked. Hands come to the side. We're going to inhale, start to push back that left hip, reach forward with the right hand. When you can't go any further, you're going to drop down to your shin, ankle or floor, or maybe if you have a block handy, you could hold onto the block here. We're twisting open from the ribs, really widening. You can do this sensation with your own hand to feel the opening through the ribs, through the collarbones. Looking to that top arm. I want you to feel like you're in between two really narrow panes of glass and you're trying not to touch either one on either side of your body. One more breath. And coming up really slowly. From here, it's time to grab your block. I want you to place it on the outside of your front foot. We're going to come into a half moon pose. It might be a new one for some of you, but we're just going to have a go. So from here, start to bend the weight into your front foot. The arms are going to start to reach for that block. And you're going to tip over so that we're balanced. I'm just going to move back slightly because there's a wall. We're going to tip over and start to raise that back foot. I want your hips to stack and open so they're in one straight line. And your shoulders can start to open too, setting that top arm up. You can come and do this near a wall or holding onto a chair. And the main sensation is to really stack those hips rather than them being closed. So trying to open with that top leg. And then sending the arm high if you can. Couple more breaths here, just using it as a moment to play. It doesn't have to be perfect. And exhale, slowly lower that back leg, and we're coming into warrior two, opening the arms. So we're going to tuck that front arm and come over into extended side angle, looking under the arm, really sinking into that front leg. Couple more breaths here. Really opening the chest, looking under that armpit. And coming back to warrior two. We're going to bring the arms up and slowly start to pivot so that we're facing the front. Lowering that back knee. Taking hands to prayer in front of the chest. We're going to bring our left elbow to right knee. So we're coming into our revolved side angle. And you can start to press that elbow into knee to use that to spiral around, looking up over that top shoulder. Similarly to the chair pose at the beginning, when you're spiraling around. You can tuck that knee and start to lift it for an extra challenge. Or you can stay down low to the ground. And from here, relaxing down. We're going to send that right leg all the way back and through to downward dog with 3 legs, so sending it nice and high. And you can use this as a little hip opener if you want to tip that leg over and back behind you, opening through the right hip flexor. And coming back through to downward dog. And from here, let's ripple the spine all the way back to our high plank. So from here, we're going to come into a side plank. So depending on your strength in the arms or your energy levels today, you can either start to bring the right hand towards the center of the mat and tip onto the outside of the right foot to come into a side plank, or you can drop that right knee and do a one-legged side plank. You'll still get the same benefit, the same stretch. So take your choice, and we'll all meet here together for a couple of breaths. Some nice strong arms, trying to push the hips up. A couple more breaths. And relax back to center. We're going to do that on the other side, so bring your left hand closer underneath you and start to tip and open out. So remember to put that underneath knee down if you need to. Nice strong arms, reaching up and down at the same time. Pressing the hips up as high as you can. One more breath. And exhale to fold. Okay, from here, come down onto hands and knees, coming into a quick restful child's pose. Sadly, we have got 2 sides of the body, so we've still got to do that on the left. But I believe in you, we can do this. So one more breath here. And when you're ready, we're going to come up to tabletop, tuck the toes and send the hips up. Okay, here we go. Left leg reaching up, bringing knee to nose, stepping through and pivoting that back foot. We're coming up to warrior one. So arms reaching high, shoulder blades down the back. Hips are square to the front of your mat, and that front knee is tracking over that front foot. Breathing here, and then opening out into warrior two on the other side, so maybe scooting that back leg further away so you've got a wider stance. And opening the arms on top, sinking the shoulder blades down the back, and looking over that front arm. Make sure that front knee is opening out so you're not rolling the knee in. And a couple more breaths, really sending that focus, that drishti over the front arm. And start to lengthen that front leg, maybe bringing in the back foot slightly. We're coming into triangle pose. So inhale, start to send that right hip back. Reaching forward the left arm. When it can't go any further, we tip over, reaching to ankle, or maybe you have block handy. You can grab that now, wherever's good for you, and start to open out. Again, you can take that hand and peel open the ribs, looking up to that top arm, remembering those panes of glass. Try not to touch them with either side of your body, so you're as narrow as you can be. Couple more breaths. And exhale, let's come all the way up nice and slowly. So again, let's grab our blocks, placing it on the outside of that front foot. We're coming into half moon on the other side. So get yourself either near a wall or wherever you're going to practice. And we're going to come from this position, start to bring the weight into the front foot and tip down, reaching for that block or the wall, and start to hover that back foot off, opening the hips out, opening that top arm, and just having a play. It might not feel comfortable, it might feel horrible, but we're just playing here in our half moon, seeing where our balance is, seeing how this feels in your body. It might feel completely alien, but it might be completely new to you. And lowering nice and slowly back into warrior two. Really good, guys. And tucking that elbow to knee, coming over into our extended side angle, looking up underneath the armpit. Breathing, opening the ribs, opening the chest. Nice long line from fingertips all the way down to that back heel on the floor of the mat. Shoulders away from your ears. And from here, coming back to warrior two. Feel the strength in that front leg really building. And from here, start to pivot back to the front of your mat. We'll drop the back knee. Hands come to chest. And we start to rotate right arm to left knee, tucking it in and spiraling round all the way through from the base of the spine to the crown of the head. Again, you can tuck that back leg here, building some strength, or we can stay nice and low, really focusing on that spiral. I hope you're still breathing. One more breath, really lengthen here. And exhale, folding down. So move any blocks out of the way. We're going to take that left foot back and through all the way up to downward dog with one leg high. Maybe doing a hip opener on the other side. Feeling that hip expand and lengthen. And coming down to downward dog. Okay, so we've got three options here next. You can take your pick depending on how you're feeling today or how much you want to challenge yourself. Option one, child's pose. Relaxing here, lengthening the spine. Option two is an elbow plank. So coming onto your elbows, tucking the toes, nice straight line, glutes squeezing in. And option three, for those people that really want a challenge, you can start to send the hips up and walk the toes towards you, coming into our dolphin. So it's a bit like a downward dog, but the elbows are down. You're going to start to push forwards with the shoulder blades like you've got a wall behind your back, and you're trying to get your back and your shoulders onto that wall. So you're building up the strength in your shoulders. So take your pick and And we'll all spend a couple of breaths here just playing. If you're in dolphin, you can even take one leg up, seeing where your balance is. Really pushing away with those elbows. And when we're already lower the knees, and maybe if you want to take a child's pose here, if you weren't already, having a couple of breaths. And when you're ready, we'll start to send the hips high and back up to downward dog. We're going to do a vinyasa here just to bring the energy and the flow back into the body. So lowering through. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale to downward dog. Really nice. And from here, we're going to walk the hands back towards the toes. You can bend the knees when you get close if you've got tight hamstrings, like me. I'll face you guys. We're going to come into Padangusthasana, which means hand to big toe. So take the first two fingers, tuck them around your big toes. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, start to fold forwards from the base of the spine. Keeping a nice soft bend in the knees. Elbows go side to side, reaching to those sides of the mat. And your spine is long, your head is heavy, no tension, give it a shake. Make sure you're breathing. Really stretching the spine nice and long. And on your next inhale, come into fingertips. Exhale, hands to hips. And start to roll up through the spine. Sending the arms up overhead. Mine have gone off the screen now, but we're going to come up to tippy toes and try to stand here, keeping that balance, keeping a nice, soft energy. Focusing on a focus point so you're not wobbling too much. Holding the tummy tight, it will help you to balance. One more breath, reach a tiny bit higher. Can you touch the ceiling? And exhale, bring everything down. Give yourself a shake and grab a bit of water if you need. Okay, so we're going to come now to a wide-legged forward fold. I'll face you guys, but you can choose whichever side you want to face. So bring your legs into a nice wide stance, as wide as you feel comfortable, and then turn the toes in slightly so you feel a bit pigeon-toed. From here, hands to hips, inhale and lengthen, and then exhale, start to fold forward. Keep the knees engaged, quads pulling up. And when you can't go any further, you can let the hands fall. If you need a block to support you, bring the floor a little closer, that's fine. Or the hands can come down to the floor. So you're pulling up the kneecaps by engaging the quads. Your spine is long, and your crown of the head is reaching forwards rather than scooping down. From here, we're going to keep everything else in the body completely still, and we're just going to bend into the right leg. Just feeling a little bit of a stretch in that inner left thigh. And back to center. Exhale on the other side. And inhale, standing back to center. One more time each side into that right leg. And stretching up. And one more, final leg. And standing nice and tall. So take a couple more breaths here, letting gravity maybe take over so the body comes a tiny bit lower. Still breathing. And then start to spider crawl the hands around to that right hand, right foot. And we're going to lower down so that we're on the back in a low lunge. From here, wiggle out that front foot so that it comes to the side edge of your mat. Bring the right hand inside that foot. We're just going to come into a slight lizard pose. So you can keep the toes tucked or you can flatten them down. And we're just trying to really open up that left hip. So you can really play here. Maybe having a little sway from side to side. You'll feel a nice stretch in the right hamstring as well, really high up. If you've got the flexibility, you can come down onto your elbows here, as long as you keep a nice long spine. Or we can stay here, but keeping the spine long. One more breath, really opening that hip. And then when you're ready, bringing that right foot back to where it feels comfortable. Right hand on the outside again, and we're going to come back into a half split. So setting the hips back, stretching that front leg, and just trying to lengthen the spine, lengthen the hamstring. I've still got a bad hamstring after about 6 months, so I'm going to keep my knee here bent, but you can try to straighten it. But the main thing here is really lengthening the spine from the base up to the crown of the head so that we're not rounding our spine. So really stretching out, lengthening, breathing, toes engaged at the front. And coming back forward, weight into the front leg. We're going to do a really graceful scuttle around to the other side. And lowering that back, right knee, left leg out in front this time. Scooting over to the outside of your mat, bringing left hand inside. We're going to come to lizard on the other side. So again, just using this to open your own hips, seeing how much it differs from the other side maybe. Might be feeling a little bit better this side or maybe a little worse, you never know. Hips can be completely different on every side of the body for every person. So again, if you've got the flexibility, you can take this down onto your elbows. You can even lift that back knee, but whatever feels good for you. So we're really just focusing on lengthening that front hip flexor, stretching it out. And then when you're ready, bringing that front foot back in front of you and starting to pull back into a half split on the other side, toes pointing up, spine lengthening, and starting to reach forward, stretching that hamstring on the left leg this time. Really feel like your whole body is still engaged. Really nice. Keep breathing here. And when you're ready, weight back into the front leg. We're going to very gracefully again come back into our forward fold on wide legs. And just take a couple of breaths, seeing if the hips feel a little bit more open. Inhale, come to fingertips. Exhale, hands to hips. And all the way up, nice and slowly so we don't go dizzy. And bring the feet back. Okay, so coming to the top of your mat, I'm going to face you guys again. We're just going to come into a tree pose, seeing how balance is doing now. So finding a nice strong Tadasana mountain pose, feet together, engaged, every part of your body. And slowly start to sink some weight into that right foot, bringing the left foot off slightly. You can either start to open the hips and stay here. This could be enough for you today. If you want to bring that foot a little higher to your shin, go ahead. Or maybe you can creep it up, tucking it into the inner thigh. Hands coming to prayer, and we're going to balance here for a few breaths. So I want you to feel like you're a really elegant swan. You've got so much work going on underneath in your legs, but on top you're graceful, you're calm, you're peaceful, and you're breathing. Couple more breaths, focusing on that point in front of you, tucking the tummy to help engage the core, the stability. And exhale, softening down. Okay, shake the legs. We'll do that on the other side. So, sinking the weight into that left foot. Start to open the hip on the right foot. Maybe staying here. You can even use a wall here if you want for balance, that's fine. Or maybe creeping the foot up. And if you can, tucking it into that inner thigh. So I really want you to feel like the foot is pressing into your thigh, thigh into foot. Again, feeling like that swan, pedaling its legs underneath, but on top, all we can see is the grace and the calmness. Couple more breaths. One more breath and relax. Really nice, guys. Okay, let's come back to the top of our mat. Feet together. Inhale, looking up towards the sky, and exhale, folding down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands and stepping to high plank. We're going to lower all the way to the tummy, so you can lower the knees or you can challenge yourself, coming down in a nice straight line, elbows into the body and lowering down. So we're going to do a couple of back strengthening exercises here. I'm going to wiggle back because there's a wall in front of me. From here, full head on the mat, hands palm down beside you. Feet together and really reaching backwards. Your whole body should feel engaged. On your next inhale, start to reach the hands backwards while the crown of the head starts to reach forwards and lifts off the mat. Building that strength in the lower back, middle back, and just staying here for a couple of breaths. Squeezing the glutes, reaching the hands back, and then without moving anything else apart from the arms, we're going to send the arms up and overhead, reaching forwards. One more breath, and then coming back behind yourself. If you haven't lowered down yet, interlacing the hands and sending the palms away, trying to touch your feet with your hands. You might come an inch higher. One more breath, and relax down nice and slowly. So give the little pelvis a little shake, coming back into child's pose. So pushing your hands up, bringing the knees in and sinking down. Just releasing that lower back after a stretch. Okay, creeping the hands back, we're going to roll up the spine. So we're going to come into camel pose. So I want you to come onto your knees. And from here, feel like you're tucking your hands into your back pockets of your jeans. Shoulders away from the ears. You might not go very far in this pose. I can't really go that far. My back hasn't got the flexibility. But from here, it's about opening the chest to the sky. So inhale, hands in those pockets, and start to lengthen the chest towards the ceiling, slightly pushing the pelvis forwards. Engaging the glutes, looking up towards the ceiling. Try not to crunch the neck, keeping it long. And holding here, building some strength in the back. If you've got the flexibility, you might be able to reach down towards the ankles and hold the pose there, or you can keep your hands in the pockets. Looking up towards the sky, opening the chest, opening the heart. Remember to breathe. It's a good pose here for that intention that we set, to really focus your energy on that person or yourself, sending love and energy towards the top of the room, out into the world. And exhale, coming back up nice and slowly. Okay, from here, coming down, we're going to hip the feet round and we're going to come to lie on our backs. So last back exercise, I promise. I think it's best to get them all done in one go. Okay, so we're just going to come into a couple of bridges. So feet planted on the floor, hands by your side. Legs should be hip distance apart, feet facing forwards. So from here, we're going to inhale, start to tuck the pelvis, rooting down through the feet and rolling up the spine, bead by bead, until we're resting on our shoulder blades. Neck should be free. Sending the hips nice and high, breathing here, engaging through the whole body. And we're going to lower down in the opposite way, pouring that spine back into the earth and letting the lower back release, and maybe window wiper the legs just to really relax that lower spine. Okay, we're going to come into that one more time. A couple of options. Either do exactly the same again, or when we get to the top, you can interlace your hands underneath your bum and send the hips a tiny bit higher, or you can really focus on those inner thighs. So if you grab your block, place it between your thighs, and you're not going to drop it for the whole time we're up. So then you'll really feel that your thighs are working. So make your choice. We'll all start together. So inhale, tucking the pelvis, starting to lift up through the spine, sending the hips high. Make your choice, either staying here, interlacing the fingers, or you've already got your block placed, and we're sending those hips high into the sky. Chest is opening, you're breathing, you might even smile. One more breath. And we're going to lower down nice and slowly. So untuck the hands if they're underneath you, and all roll down together. Very nice. And just rocking side to side again, and coming into a little hugging of the knees, rocking side to side, massaging that lower spine on the mat, maybe a couple of circles. Okay, and then we're going to come back up. You may want to rock up and down using a little bit of tummy muscles to massage the spine, or you can rock over to one side and slowly come through, and we'll all meet in our high plank. We're not done yet. So high plank, lowering down, sending up to upward dog, and sending the hips to downward dog. Okay, from here, sending right leg up high into the sky, bringing knee to nose. We're going to hover here if you can, and then we're going to start to turn out that knee that's hovering, placing the toes down, placing the knee down, coming into a pigeon. So this is a really good glute stretch. That front knee should be wider than your hip on the right side. If this is a complete no-go for you, you can do this lying on your back in a reclined pigeon, crossing that leg over and bringing the hands to hook around the left shin. You'll get exactly the same stretch in that right glute. So again, on the left, you're here and you're feeling the stretch in that glute. But we're all going to take whatever feels good for our body, so don't push yourself if you haven't got the flexibility in the hips. And we're going to stay here for a few breaths, really releasing that hip, feeling that stretch in the glute. Again, you can come down onto forearms and lower the head. You can maybe place a block there and rest your head on the block, just to feel the release in the spine. Really breathing into this pose. Couple more breaths. And when you're ready, coming back up, rocking onto the side of that leg. You're going to bring the back leg all the way around, crossing it over the right leg, so that where left leg is crossed over, we're going to hook our elbow around the left leg, take our left arm behind us and come into a twist. Just for a couple of breaths, lengthening the spine. And exhale, small counter twist to the other side. And then rocking back onto our hips, coming into Navasana. So sending the legs out long. You can hold on to the hips here behind the hamstrings, or you can let go of the arms. We're going to do a quick core exercise, so maybe coming to low boat, keeping lower back on the floor, or you can stay in your high boat. But if you can and you fancy the challenge, we're going to do a few low boat to high boats, just engaging the core for the last little bit of the class. One more. And up. And crossing the legs, optional vinyasa or resting in child's pose. See where your energy is today. And all meeting in downward facing dog. We'll do pigeon on the left foot. So when you're ready, sending left foot up to the sky. Inhale, knee to nose, hovering here. And then start to turn out that leg in the air, placing the foot down, knee wider than the hip, and start to sink back into your pigeon. Again, if this isn't comfortable, feel free to do the reclined one lying on your back. Again, bringing forearms down if you can, or maybe using the block, placing the head to really allow the openness in that glute. Okay, and when you're ready, rocking onto the outside of the hip, bringing the right leg all the way around, crossing it over, hooking elbow to knee, and start to twist round, right hand behind you, looking over that shoulder. Couple more breaths, lengthening the spine, shoulders down, and exhale, a little counter twist to the other side. Okay, from here, let's bring soles of the feet together. We're in Baddha Konasana. You can hold onto the feet, inhale to lengthen the spine, and exhale, soften and roll down. Just releasing all the energy, completely relaxing the spine and rolling down. And slowly rolling up, grabbing the outsides of your knees, closing up, and we're going to lie down nice and slowly, coming down onto our backs. We're just going to hug the right knee in like we did at the beginning of class, seeing if the hips feel a little more open. And a couple of options here. We can stay hugging the knee. You can give yourself a little hamstring stretch, interlacing the hands behind and stretching that foot up. Or you can come into a half happy baby, so taking the outside of that foot and hooking that knee into armpit, feeling the stretch in that inner thigh. Maybe placing the opposite hand on the opposite hip to make sure it stays grounded and we're not rolling over. So taking your choice, maybe doing a couple of each. Bringing the breath back into the body, softening everything, feeling good that we haven't got to do any major moving again in the class. And then all together we're going to take that leg over into a twist, knee goes towards the floor, looking towards the right hand side of the body, right arm stretching out. Feeling the release in the spine, and rolling back onto your back and lengthening that leg out. And we'll just do that on the other leg, so bringing left knee into chest. Either staying here, stretching the leg up for a hamstring stretch, or coming into a half happy baby, grabbing the outside of that foot and tucking knee into armpit, holding onto the other side of the hip to make sure it's not flying up in the air. Just a couple of more breaths. And then all together we'll take that leg over into the twist. Looking this time to the left hand side, left arm stretching out, trying to keep that left shoulder down on the floor. And coming back to center, hugging both knees in. Having a little rock. Inhale, exhale everything out, lengthening the legs away from you. We're going to come into our Shavasana. So finding a comfortable laying down position. If you're a little bit chilly, maybe grab something to keep you warm. We'll be here for a couple of minutes and your body will cool down really quickly after all that hard work. So when you're ready, lying on your back, finding your comfortable position, maybe hands resting on your tummy, or you may even want to keep knees upright while you're down. Maybe they can fall in together while your feet are out at the sides of your mat. Just wherever's comfortable for you. So closing the eyes, lying on the backs, hands resting down by the sides or on your belly. And just coming back to your breath. taking a few inhales, exhales. And just starting to deepen the breath and thinking back to that intention we set at the beginning of class. Maybe this is the first time you've thought about it in the last hour, or maybe you were sending energy and thoughts to that person, that loved one, or to yourself throughout the class. It may even have been subconscious. Feeling how relaxed your body now feels. Feeling how good you now feel after energizing yourself, using the breath, using all the muscles in the body, and using that positive feeling to take forwards into the rest of the day, into the rest of the week if possible. Maybe feeling a little more relaxed, maybe the joints feel a little more mobile, maybe the spine feels a little bit longer. Whatever you've taken from this class is a good thing. Even just turning up on your mat can be difficult right now. So even that is a huge positive thing that you have done for yourself today. Just a couple more breaths. And when you're ready, deepening the breath, bringing a little bit of movement back into your fingers, your toes, wiggling them. Maybe taking the head side to side. Taking a full body stretch, or maybe hugging your knees to chest and really just feeling the love. And when you're ready, rocking onto your favourite side and joining me in a seated position to close the practice together. Eyes still closed if you can, hands resting on your knees or in your lap. Seeing if the spine feels any longer than we did an hour ago. And taking the arms to the side, wrapping them around yourself, giving yourself that huge hug that you deserve. Knowing that we can all give each other hugs, hopefully soon, because I know that I miss hugging those that are dear to me. So thanking yourself for practicing with me, and thanking your bodies for turning up and practicing with yourself. Hands to chest, bowing the head. Namaste. Well, thank you very much for joining me. I hope that wasn't too out of the ordinary, and I hope you enjoyed the class. Really would like any feedback or comments that you have about the class. I think it's great for my own progression to know what worked, what didn't work. So please, you won't offend me, feel free to send any good and bad comments. Also, if you feel like anybody might need this video in their life, feel free to share with anyone and everyone. And I really do hope you're safe. Missing you all, and really hope we can get back to class soon. I am thinking about doing maybe some outdoor classes. So if you have any ideas about where we could do this, obviously we can only do it in groups of 5. Let me know your thoughts. Maybe one of you has a gigantic field of a garden that we could all join in. If not, we can maybe look at some local parks. But I am really excited to see you all soon, and love you all. Stay safe. Bye.